Hi, everybody. Happy 4th of July. This is Eileen from EileenGoesLean-VSG coming to you today on Tuesday, July 4th, 2017, with my week 23 post op VSG update. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy surgery on January 24th, 2017, at Roger Williams Medical Center in Providence with Dr. Pohl. So today I'm coming to you with a 3.2-pound weight loss for the week. The total since surgery is 77.6, and since my all-time high on Halloween of 2016, the weight loss is 114.8 pounds. Yes, 114.8 pounds. So I'm very excited about that. Last week when I came at you, I had just lost 0.8 of a pound, so 0.8 of a pound, and I was worried that I might be in a stall because actually during the course of the week, there were about 6 days where my weight went up and down by 0.2 of a pound, up, down, up, down, up, down. But essentially, I was the same for about 6 days. And I was getting very worried that I might be in a stall or on a plateau or whatever. And, I'm only 23 weeks out, so it's kind of early for that. So I'm very happy to report that I had a more significant loss this week, more on track with my average. I didn't really do anything differently this week over last week. The only thing is that when I was traveling last week, I had nuts 3 or 4 days in a row, and I have not had any nuts this week. So I think that has been helpful to do that. The other thing is I've kind of, because I was traveling, I wasn't able to weigh and measure all my food, and I've been weighing and measuring this week again, which is good, and it's important because even though we say the size of what we eat, I still think it's important to use the food scale, and I literally use it every day. I definitely use it for breakfast and lunch. Sometimes I don't use it for dinner if we're out. But in any case, I feel like I'm back on track, so I'm very excited about that. In terms of other weight loss types of things, I feel like I have lost less hair today than I did last time I shampooed. So I shampooed today, and I feel like I lost less hair today in the shower than I did last time I shampooed. So I feel like that's good. I know that I need to get to 6 months before the hair loss really slows down. I'm hoping it's beginning to slow a little bit because I feel like I've lost a lot, and I'm beginning to feel very self-conscious about it, to almost to the point where on Saturday I considered going to look for a wig, which is pretty drastic, but I feel like, and you can see, it still looks like I've got a lot of hair, but I don't think. When I put it all up in a ponytail, the ponytail is quite thin. So I'm hoping it comes back. I'm expecting it to come back. It's not going to change anything. I already had the surgery, and I'd have the surgery again. Even with the hair loss, I would still do the surgery again. The other thing I want to say is if you trust the process and you just keep doing what you're supposed to do, the scale will eventually move. And I feel like I trusted the process. Even though I was discouraged last week, I trusted the process and just kept doing what I was supposed to do. And it ended up working out very well. So I'm very happy about that, very pleased and happy about that. So I want to talk about it. Well, I also had some other NSVs this week, and I saw someone that I hadn't seen since last year, 4th of July. I saw her on Sunday, and she's actually a nurse practitioner in visiting my sister from Ohio. And she actually FaceTimed me the night before my surgery to give me some encouragement. And I saw her this week. And so last year when I saw her, I was probably a good 100 pounds more than I am now, maybe a little more than that. And she was so excited and told me how great I looked and how she could see how much weight I lost and all of that. So that was really nice. Also, at that same visit to the beach house, I had to climb 2 flights of stairs before getting into the house. So there's a staircase from the garage to the first floor, and then from the first to the second floor, which is their main living area. So it's 2 full big flights of stairs, and I did that without any problem, without being out of breath. 2 in a row, both flights right in a row, didn't stop in between, so that's good. The other thing is I had lunch last week with the person that I used to work for, and I hadn't seen him since Inauguration Day. So I saw him 70 some odd pounds ago, and he was very complimentary, saying how I looked great, everything else. And as a matter of fact, the dress I wore for our lunch was actually quite big on me, and it's one of my smaller dresses. So that's again another non-scale victory. The other thing is my clothes are all fitting me. The smaller clothes are fitting me. The bigger clothes are gone. I do have 3 pair of jeans, capris kind of, that I wear all the time, and 1 pair fits okay, and the other 2 are pretty big, and one of them is really big, and I probably need to get rid of it because it kind of falls off me. So anyway, so those are non-scale victories that are really good. So we're in the month of July, and a lot of people are coming forth with their goals for July, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my goals for July. So the first thing is that I'm writing in a gratitude journal every night, 3 things that I'm grateful for and why. And I know it's only been 3 nights, but I've done it every night, and I find that that sort of reflection is very helpful to keep me in the right frame of mind, because I do have plenty to be grateful for. And like everybody else, I've got some things that are challenges in my life, but um, most of my life is very positive, and all stuff that I'm very grateful for. So I'm doing that every day. The other thing is I'd like to get to about 120 pounds lost by the end of July, which is just a little over 5 pounds, and I think that that's very doable. If I find next week that I have another really good loss, I will up that number, but for now, if I got to 120 by the end of July, I'd be very happy. The other thing is, and this is not so much weight loss related, well, it is and it isn't, but it's more life related. And this is a quote that I'm totally stealing from a spiritual teacher that has actually trained me in my Reiki master training. And I have to read this because I did not memorize it. But let me just get to it. This is something that she put out in late December, and I find it something really good to reflect on and a mantra to live by. And it's how I intend to live and conduct myself going forward. So here's the quote. And again, this is totally not my quote, and I'm stealing it. Am I adding more light to the planet today, or more chaos? I promise to sit daily and blast any negativity within me or around me with love. So, again, I think it's a great way to live. Am I adding more light to the planet or more chaos? So am I making things worse, or am I making things better? And I like to think of myself as a very positive and uplifting person, and I don't want to dim my light by being negative or adding to the chaos or being anxious, even though I do have anxiety about many things. I'm going to remember this every day, reflect on it every day, and try to live this way every day. The other thing that this very wise person put out there more recently, probably a week or so ago, was this: sprinkle kindness like confetti. So think about that for a minute. Sprinkle kindness like confetti. And kindness is contagious. When you're kind to others, they typically are kind back to you and or others, which is really good. And you start with sort of a pebble in the water and you get a ripple effect. So sprinkle kindness like confetti, something to really think about. I think that that's really an important way to live and an important way to think about things. So trying to think what else I have to say today. Not too much else. Actually, this is the 3rd time I'm recording this. I recorded once and posted, but I must have done something to my microphone because the audio went dead after a while, so I had to repost. I'm re-recording. So with that being said, today's 4th of July, so celebrate your independence from the wait. Celebrate your independence and enjoy the 4th of July. I also know that today is a big day for barbecues, picnics, parties, drinking, all of that stuff. So what I would say to you is I hope you have the independence and the freedom to not be caught up in all that and eat as you're supposed to and as you feel like you should, and drink, if anything, moderately, and don't sabotage your program and your journey today. And if you do go off track, just get right back on again tomorrow. But I hope you all have a wonderful, safe, and happy 4th of July holiday, and that you enjoy and really think about all that we have to be grateful for in terms of our independence and our freedom. And I will come back at you again next week. And until then, I say peace and love to all. Have a great and happy 4th of July.